Hello, this is Hope Roski with Central Valley Talk, Briggs on Books, and today we have Dr. Julius Chinamo, and you are joining us live from Germany, correct?
Yes.
It's very late where you are, so we appreciate you staying up and doing this interview with us today. We're thrilled to have you here. I would like to talk to you today about your writing background. I know you have your degree in Christian counseling, which I think is absolutely wonderful, but you obviously got into writing somehow, and the book that you have now is called The Horrors of Indoctrination. So how did you go from Christian counseling into writing? I mean, you probably are still practicing, but what took you from that point over to writing?
Okay. I started as a pastor. I am a qualified pastor and ordained pastor. I've led the ministry, the work of God, for over 16 years with my wife. So I started writing during the same time when I was a pastor. When I started to be a pastor, that's when I started writing.
Okay.
But the passion of writing books started way back when I was still a young boy at high school. I remember my teacher at school used to tell me that you are a good writer. Whenever I write a composition, my teacher would tell me that it's nice to read your compositions, your stories at school. So I had the passion of writing from childhood.
So you had a teacher that was an inspiration who told you, and see, I'm also a former teacher. So when a teacher, I think this is so important, gives you that sheds light and helps believe in you and your ability to do something, many times it's great to see that these students go to the next level, and you're one of those people who were inspired by your teacher giving you praise and compliments to move on to continue with your writing. I think that's terrific.
Yes.
So then eventually you worked on becoming a pastor, and it was at that time that you also started writing. When you started writing, did you directly go into writing about, kind of the horrors of things, or did you kind of stay more spiritual? What was initially with your writing? Where did you begin?
Okay. When I started writing, most of my writings, like my first book, it was entitled Testimony of a Missionary.
Okay.
So most of my books, I was writing, or I do write about real stories, real issues. So on that first book, I was just narrating the experiences I had with my family as then missionaries. Then, when I released that first book, it was like a catalyst to many books which I had in my computer, in my small computer, which I had not published. So then I started counting, and this book we are talking about today, The Horrors of Indoctrination, is book number 17.
Wow. Okay. All right. So when you started writing, like you said, it was more towards spiritual, kind of faith-based. But then you have this book. It's called The Horrors of Indoctrination. How long did that take you to write?
The Horrors of Indoctrination took me 7 months to write.
Okay. That actually, by writing standards, that's you did quite well, because for some people it can take a year, couple of years.
Yes.
How did you kind of get into that type of writing?
Okay. So remember, I told you I am an ordained pastor. I have a lot of experiences in ministry. So I just thought to myself, I looked to myself, to the experiences I had seen, to the church in general, especially with the African context, So I looked at it, then I just decided, let me write a book which will tell the challenges which many people face because of religion, the challenges which many people face because of the abuse of religion, the challenges which many people see because of the little understanding of religion. So that's when I started developing my story. The book is a thriller, a true story which I had made into a thriller as I was trying to explain and express the points which I wanted people to learn. By the way, the book is not there to pull down the religion, to take down the church, to discredit the church. No, the book is just there to talk about the things which many people do not talk about these days, in the fear of religion, in the fear of discipline, the fear of being cursed, because we now have leaders, spiritual or religious leaders, who are abusing their authorities, their powers, using undoctrinated methods and ways to try to, to take control of people.
So this is basically a fiction book, but it's based on true experiences that you have observed, the horrors and the terrors of growing up in your region and then Zimbabwe region, and you took those experiences and you put it into your writing.
Yes, exactly.
And I feel so badly that you had to go through any of those terrors, but I always, refer to the word cathartic in the sense that it gives you a chance to release, those experiences, those emotions in a way that you can put it into writing and kind of bring it into a full circle, if you will. And,
yes.
And I think for readers, when a writer takes what I call those real experiences and then puts it into their own creative writing, then you have a great, great book to read. And it seems like you did that with yours.
That's exactly what I did.
I think that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit, do you have various chapters in your book, or does it read all the way through?
The book has chapters.
Okay, so
yes, it has chapters. Like what I said, it is a story. So the story starts with a family which have found a church to go. When they are in that church, that's when they discovered that I think we are at a wrong place, because the things which are happening here, they are a little bit skeptical and fear. There's a lot of fear which is being used by the leader. And as they were trying to get out of the cocoon, out of that trap, that's when now they started the fight, spiritual and physical fight with the so-called leader. So as they were on their way to try to find freedom from what they find themselves into, that's when a lot of problems started happening. Cases, they were being fought left, right, center. But the daughter of the family started to push around, fighting to save the family. So at the end of the day, the real religion, the real God, the real God-saving church helped the family until they got their desired freedom.
So it really was, when you talk about leadership, poor leadership, families do get affected in many ways, whether it's through financial violence, all of it. You have bad leadership, it can take a country in a very terrifying direction, especially when it finds its way into the family's life and lifestyle.
Yes.
And as a person who probably experienced that, you took that and you brought it into your book. It sounds amazing. Where can the readers order your book?
The book is found on Amazon, mainly Amazon USA. Then it is also distributed by many shops, Kobo, Digital, a lot of shops, they have the book, and we are still pushing that it can get into many shops, many online shops.
And if people want to find out more about you, they can go to www.juliuschinamo.org, correct?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. Is there anything you would like to tell the viewers before we close up and wrap up here?
One thing which I just want to tell people is that as we make a choice or a decision to follow a certain religion, we should be very careful that is it a godly, Bible-believing church, so that we avoid a situation where we can go to a place in the name of a church, then we ended up, entangling ourselves in a very dangerous and difficult situation, or a chaotic group where we cannot get out easily. We need to have a spirit of discernment before we make a final decision to join a church. We need to be God-fearing people so that we are directed by the Holy Spirit to go to a best place for our families.
Well, I thank you so much for your insight today. I mean, you've given the viewers a great deal of information. And viewers, I think if you're looking for a book that takes true life experiences but places into more of a fictional type of a genre here, this is the book you're looking for. It's called The Horrors of Indoctrination. It's by Dr. Julius Chinamo. And I thank you so much for your courage, and I wish you continued success in your life's journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. This is Hope Roski with Central Valley Talk, Briggs on Books.